Hey guys, how's it going? It is Brandon here from Dolphin Quest, and I decided to make a little bit of a video so that I could talk about something that I've been playing for a little while. Of course, I'm talking about the actual game Magic the Gathering, but as far as Arena goes, I've only been playing for a couple of weeks, but I've enjoyed it so far. So I kind of wanted to go over a couple things, then I'll play a couple matches, and then talk a little bit over it, and, you know, kind of explain where my thinking is with some of the stuff I do, and so forth. So this is going to be a bit of a beginner's lesson because anyone who's played the game for a while has probably experienced a lot of this stuff, but anyone who maybe played some tabletop Magic and wants to get into it, then you might want to give this video a watch just to kind of see what's going on with the game. So the reason that I like this a lot better so far than tabletop Magic is because it's a lot cheaper. You can kind of just jump in, build a cheap deck, and then earn your way to building the things that you want to build. Now, the like I always said I wanted to play Modern in tabletop, but I never actually got around to it. So with this game, it's more based off of Standard, so the last 5 or 6 sets, something along those lines. So the card pool's a lot smaller, but because of that, and because of the cheap price point, it is actually a lot easier for people to kind of get into the game a little bit. So first of all, we'll talk about deck building. As you can see, I have plenty of decks here. Some of them are pre-built, and once you get past the, I'd say, first week of the game or so, it'll probably take you to unlock a lot of these. You'll unlock a lot of the Ravnica decks if you start playing now. So we have all the different houses and color combinations. But then you're probably going to want to build around stuff. So there's a couple different things you could build around. The first one, of course, is colors. And what I suggest for anyone that's really new to the format, I suggest building decks that are fairly cheap. And when I say that, I mean the general converted mana cost and the abilities. So for instance, I have 2 decks here I want to talk about. I have the Lifelink deck and the Death Touch deck. So I'm going to talk about those in a second. Before that, I can knock this out pretty quickly. There's also weekly quest type of things where it'll show up right here. But I already completed mine for the quests and everything. So with that, what these will be, it'll be something along the lines of like play 25 lands or destroy 20 of your opponent's creatures, or play 20 white and black spells, for instance. It'll be stuff along those lines. So what you'll want to do is sometimes you'll want to make a deck to kind of go along with that. For instance, this red-blue deck, I built that because I wanted to knock out that challenge really easily. So that was red and blue. Some of the other ones, for instance, is they'll be like singleton events where it's a deck of 60 cards or 60 plus cards and only 1 copy of each. So for instance, I built this deck, which, as you can see, 1 copy of each card, except for basic lands. You could have as many of those as you want. And with this, you kind of just want to, build something so that you can get your wins in and then get your prizes. Anyway, so as for being a beginner, I've noticed that there are 2 fairly easy to build decks right from the start. And those 2 decks are Lifelink and Death Touch. So the reason why is because there's a lot of low-cost creatures that come out with Death Touch, or they will have the ability to give themselves Death Touch. But also, there are not too many rare cards in this. The way I did it, I kind of just grabbed whatever I had, because a lot of these cards, for instance, Assassin's Trophy, which some of you might recognize as a staple from the past, probably about year or so, I want to say, of Magic. I'm not sure of the timeline. of standard Magic, but also it's been adopted into Modern as well as a very easy answer for certain things. For instance, the card Tarmogoyf, which, you know, is a 2-cost creature and could very well come out as, you know, a 7/8 and 8/9, something along those lines. You're answering it with a, you know, 2 converted mana cost kill spell that's unconditional, besides the fact that your opponent can grab a land from their library, but, you know, that may ultimately help you more than it hurts you. As you could see, there's also stuff that's a very, you know, distinct and easy kill spell. For instance, Murder, which unconditionally destroys a creature as long as it doesn't get countered or the creature doesn't have indestructible. That's great for this deck. We have some split cards that are rares, of course. Then we just, in general, have a lot of, like, low rarity cards. For instance, this Vraska is very important for the deck because if you're playing against a heavy Planeswalker deck, which I noticed a lot of people were playing a deck called Super Friends, which uses a lot of Planeswalkers, but this, as you can see, your assassin creature basically being able to kill Planeswalkers by doing 1 damage to them is very... you know, is a very good deck to have. Of course, we have another uncommon Planeswalker, Obnixilis, and that works pretty well. I've actually killed a couple opponents just because they couldn't get their creatures to stick, but they kept drawing more and more cards, and eventually this just whittled them down. Of course, you know, bigger kind of bombs that you would want to drop is... you know, this Feral Abomination, because it's a 5/5, which is pretty big to begin with, but it also has Death Touch, so if they're attacking with a big dinosaur or something along those lines, and I'm not even, you know, making that up, that's very big right now, is using dinosaurs, but they usually don't even want to attack with them when you even have, you know, 1 or 2 creatures with Death Touch. Besides that, I threw in a couple mythics in the deck just because I had them from opening packs and stuff. So we got Sorin here, who just kind of pumps your stuff up, and it can also work as a removal, as you can see with the 2/2 or -2 ability there. And then these guys here, just because they're pretty cool and they tend to be a game ender. If you're going to end up casting them, it's because you're going to swing out for a win. Besides that, we have a couple lands and stuff. And yeah, most of this is basically going towards, you know, pumping creatures up and getting them to have Death Touch, essentially. So this guy is probably one of the, you know, biggest things. You definitely want this, or this in your opening hand, because that really sets you up. Then you could use stuff like Rabid Bite, so it'll deal damage equal to its power, but when you have a Death Touch creature, it doesn't matter, and it's better than fighting because your creature doesn't take any type of damage. So this would essentially kill any creature without indestructible that it would, you know, attack, and that's really good because it's a really cheap type of removal, whereas, you know, some of the other ones, with the exception of Assassin's Trophy, are more expensive. So then we have this split card, Find and Finality, which you could either return a creature, 2 creatures to your hand from your graveyard, or you can basically wipe the board. But anyway, that's enough for that deck, so I am going to go into the Lifelink deck now. Now, I found with this deck, generally people have a tendency of kind of scooping after, well, scooping as in, you know, kind of giving up after the 3rd or 4th turn, just because it gets creatures out so quick. It's got very, very low converted mana cost. The highest converted mana cost is a 5 converted mana cost, but it does 2 things for you, which it, you know, takes 2 life away from each opponent, and then I gain 2 life. And then with that, we have Healer's Hawk, another vampire, which helps with the lifelink and Death Touch. Once again, if it comes to an effective blocker, this is great, and you gain life off of it. Then we have a Johnny's Pridemate, which turns completely ridiculous after a couple turns, so you'll find that this will become a lightning rod pretty quickly. Same with this and the Healer's Hawk. So as soon as they see this stuff come down, they're instantly going to start trying to remove it. But when you're playing against like either green, white, or blue decks. Generally speaking, those have a little bit more trouble, whereas red and black decks can kill them, and they tend to very quickly. Then we have pacifism, just in case they get a really big creature and you don't have the removal you need. This is just to make sure that when your creatures do die, you get extra value out of it. This is to make sure that none of their bigger creatures or planeswalkers or anything with converted mana cost 4 or greater gets in your way, because if they drop for instance, one I could think of is Omniscience, which costs, I want to say like 11 or so. I could actually look it up and show you if you guys aren't familiar with it. Not collected. Okay, yeah, so it's a 10 converted mana cost, but then you do not have to pay mana for anything. So if an opponent drops this, it's probably because they're about to win the game. So if you were to do that, if they were to drop that down, you could take it out for 2, and more than likely they have tapped out at that point. So they will be severely behind, and you're probably going to end up coming back from it. Then we have just, flyers, which have evasion, so they, creatures without flying or reach can't block them, but also it grows as you gain life, which with this deck, you're going to gain a ton of life. Mortify, this is basically, once again, big creatures or enchantments, so say they decide to use a pacifism on you, you can get rid of it with this, or there's a bunch of other kind of exile-type enchantments that they'll usually hit something that either grows or comes into the battlefield and has an effect and happens to be a bigger creature, so you can get rid of it with that. We have a single copy of Ajani, mostly because I don't want to use up all my mythic wild cards, which I'll talk about in a second. He's really good. I actually was at 1 life, and then I exiled. Oh, wait, no, I didn't. I can't do that. So, basically, I was trying to swing out with my creatures, but he had a bunch of blockers, and he was about to bring out a really big creature that I had returned to the top of his library. So I was able to get rid of all of the opponent's stuff, and then attack them for, lethal and 1. So that's a great card. It also lets you gain life, so if you have a bunch of creatures that benefit from that, it's going to, and if you have a lot of creatures out, it's going to be even better. And his other ability, he gets a 2/2 Ajani's Pride Mate, which is the exact same card here, and that will benefit from all your life gain as well. Gideon's Company, basically a bigger version of Ajani's Pride Mate, and it also lets you put a loyalty counter on a Gideon Planeswalker. That doesn't really matter as much just because I'm not running it, but if you were running a Gideon deck, this would be great. Then we just have a creature that comes in, it gains me life. The opponent has to discard a card. That's really great if you're about to swing in, but you don't know if they have a card. Like, for instance, Settle the Wreckage, which can really destroy your strategy if you're swinging in. And that's this card right here. So the lands are nice and everything, but if you're about to win the game, you would probably much rather use this rather than much rather get rid of this rather than have it happening. Then the Thrall, of course, I talked about this before, and that's it's a 3/3 flyer, so it'll help you get some damage in. Besides that, lands and stuff, I have a Temple of Silence in here, which lets you scry, which means you could look at the top card in your library, and you could either put it on the bottom or keep it on the top if it's something you need. So those are the 2 decks that I think would be really helpful towards a, kind of a newer player, just because how easy it can be to win. Now, I'll show you guys the lifelink deck and everything, and then I'll talk you through it a little bit. And I'm not guaranteeing that I'm going to win or anything, because it's a very big possibility to lose, because it happens. Some decks work better. Sometimes your hand's not as good, but here it is. I gotta say, though, one thing I do like about Magic Arena is the backgrounds they use. So this is for Lotus something. I forget what exactly. It's like, I want to say like Lotus Field. That's what it is. Okay, so this hand's not the best, but I'm going to keep it just because I could get this out turn 2 and I could get rid of some of their stuff with Mortify. Plus, I have the Gideon's Company that's going to come down like ASAP. So Scoured Barrens, also good because it gains you a life. So if any of your creatures were out there, they are going to benefit from that, but not always, so it's okay. Another one of those. So I'm actually going... I can't really do that. I'll just put this out, gain the other life, and then the next turn I am going to use my Harpy unless they get something out that I feel like I can't deal with. I'm guessing... Oh, huh. It's actually really surprising. So I'm going to put it out now. There's a possibility it could get... Oh, I guess not. Okay. There's always a possibility something could get countered. I'm not sure what the counter spell is called, but the good thing is that I just gained the 1/1 counter off of the lifelink on my vampire. So I assume they're probably going to drop something this turn. Yeah, that's what I thought. And I am actually... So I'm going to put my land out for this turn, and I'm gonna mortify this just because these flyers like this tend to become a problem. So yeah, anyway, so I will swing in again. I will pretty much undo the life gain that he just got and grow my creature a little bit. Another thing that'll happen when you're playing blue is sometimes people play a little bit slow, but it's not really their fault because blue is very much about making every single move count. And it's understandable that they would, you know, kind of figure out what they want to do. I wouldn't doubt that right now they probably have a Settle the Wreckage in their hand, which in that case, if they do, it's going to be a little bit hard to deal with at this point just because I don't really have my stuff set up and I kind of want to keep swinging in. And let's see. Oh, okay. So he is going to draw 3 cards and he did it for the addendum cost. So yeah, so he could set up his hand basically perfectly, which, you know, that's good for him and everything. Okay, so what I am going to do here, I'm going to play my Gideon's Company first because that will come out. Then I could use my Scoured Barrens. That gains me a life. It grows him to a 5/5 and this to a 5/6. Then I go into all attacks. I gain the life off of that, and then I get my triggers there. So if he doesn't do something fairly quickly, he is probably going to lose this next round. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought he would do. And then he's probably going to unsummon this. I wouldn't be surprised if he, you know, did that, because that's just the logical move there. Of course, I feel like I may get... Yeah. I can't even use that, though. So that's... sometimes it's conditional what can happen and everything, so you really want to, you know, think about your moves before you use them. You also want to think about your land, too. So we're going to do that, and I am going to swing in, and hopefully he'll block. He more than likely won't, but he is probably also thinking about unsummoning something, but that's okay. Ah, there we go. I thought so. Huh. And I can't really do anything about it. So let's see if he... Okay, he did not fall for that. So right now is about the point where playing a control deck becomes kind of dangerous, just because of the fact that they have their mana set up, they probably have counter spells, and if they have a combo, they're going to be able to set up for it. I'm kind of hoping that he just drops a really big creature so I can, you know, take it out. Yep, there we go. I was hoping he'd do that. So what we're going to do, we're going to pass to attackers right here. Past end of combat, and then before my turn, because this is an instant, I am going to kill this. Okay, and then this will happen sometimes where you end up with just like a ton of lands. So that's a problem, but it's okay. So I'm basically just going to keep attacking. He probably more than likely will not block that. And then I have a card that could get rid of an enchantment that I feel like might be coming up soon. So if that ends up happening, I am going to basically swing out, and then we have... Oh, okay. We have a 4/4 flying vigilance, and vigilance means that attacking does not cause it to tap, meaning that normally it would tap, so if a creature's tapped, it can't block, and obviously you can't tap it again. Say you were to, use it for mana or something along those lines. So what I'm going to go do here, I'm going to attack again because I really don't think that he is going to block with either of his creatures because it's going to be kind of bad for him, so he just has to, do that, basically. Okay, play my land, end the turn. And also, if my connection goes out, it's something that happens sometimes. And yeah, I think it might be like either a glitch or something along those lines. But as you can see right now, he is kind of setting up for his attacks and everything. So I'm hoping I get something, which I actually have an idea of something that would really help with this. That would basically kill all of his creatures. And that is not it, though. Let's see if he blocks this. Because right now he's pretty far behind, seeing as he's at 10, I'm at 24, so he would have to really start swinging in. It would basically take him 3 turns of swinging in the entire time to beat me at this point. Plus, my lion is starting to grow more, and so is this. So as soon as I could actually get rid of that enchantment, then... I could actually do some damage here. But also, you may have noticed I could have played this land, but it's kind of just like a little psychological warfare type of game that I like playing with my opponents, just because, they'll hesitate to do some stuff because they think I might have like a kill spell or something along those lines. But yeah, so here we go. He's probably gonna... Oh, no. Okay. So then, whenever a creature comes in, I gain another life, so that's growing my other lion, basically, and anything else involved with that, so... Yeah, there we go. And as you can see, the army is kind of, getting to the point where it's just, getting bigger and bigger, so I'm gonna just keep sending my 1/1 at them. And then after that, I don't know what I'll do. Okay, that's totally fine. Okay. So basically what he's doing now is he kind of put himself behind with that just because of the fact that he he did sacrifice one of his creatures. In all honesty, he probably would have won, and a lot quicker. I mean, he could still win, of course, because as you can see, all I'm really drawing is lands here, but what can you do? And also, I don't have a way to grow my creatures right now, so yeah, I guess I just got to pass off to the next turn. The only thing I could see helping me actually win this game right now is if I get the card I'm looking for, which is... I can't actually remember what it's called right now. All I know is that it, basically will get rid of all of his creatures. Healer's Hawk, that doesn't really help me too much, but it is a good blocker for right now. It'll help me grow my lions, so yeah, we'll do that. Okay, yeah, I'm actually going to force him to block me at this point. Okay. So yeah, I'm just going to take this out first. Yeah, so pretty much banking on the whole thing with destroying one of these enchantments, because if I could manage to do that, I think I'll probably be golden, but I'm not sure. He's probably going to attack with his 4/4, which I'll block with my 1/1. I don't really care if I lose it. Ooh. Well, I guess that's pretty good. I mean, he's kind of putting himself out of, you know, distance to kind of, you know, counter my spells. If he casts one more... nah. He's probably still good. Okay. Block there. Yeah, anyway, looks like it's coming to a close on this one. Yeah, so both of his creatures basically have vigilance and stuff, and he's got a bunch of cards in his hand, so yeah, well played. This is a good deck. Might build something similar to it. Probably not, though. I mean, like, the funny thing is, like, any Magic player out there could probably tell you that they've had, like, trouble with building and alright, we're gonna be good sportsmen here. Good game. And yeah, we're just going to let him attack us. So as I said, you know, things can really go one way or another depending on the deck that you play, but as I said, it's not really about building a deck that'll win you the game every time, because it's not really like what it is anymore. I mean, at one point, you know, in Magic's history, when people would play, there wasn't really any sanctioned play, so if you wanted to, you know, have 20 copies of one card, 20 copies of another card, and then, you know, 20 copies of a third card for a 60-card deck, well, that's totally fine. And I'm actually referring to the old Channel Fireball deck, which would use 20 channel, which I'm pretty sure it lets you pay life to, you know, add mana to your mana pool, and then it uses 20 Black Lotuses, which lets you put it out for 0, and sacrifice it to add 3 mana of one color to your mana pool, and then Fireball, which costs X and a red, which lets you pretty much play whatever, and then, you know, pretty much just hit them in the face with as much damage as you want. It was lawless times back then, but anyway, here's the next deck. So we're going to play Death Touch right now. So as I said before, this deck is pretty decent just because of the fact that it'll kind of just let you get around really big threats while only having small stuff of your own. So for instance, Vampire of the Dire Moon, this card once again is great. Leyline Prowler lets you add mana, murder, and then my removal, which this card is actually the card I was thinking of before, and it wasn't even in the deck, so I was screwed anyway. Alright, opponent, what you got? I didn't see... Okay, here we go. So, let's go with... No, I'm just going to use this to start, because I don't really have anything to play on turn 2 just yet. Which, if I do draw something, it has an okay shot. Oh, nice. Okay. So we might actually be able to get into some stuff with this. Okay, I'll attack. And the cool thing with this is that even though I might not draw a land next turn, I could play this guy, which will let me... I know what he's playing. He's more than likely playing either Hydroid Krasis, which, well, I guess it would be more like akin to like self-mill type of stuff. Or he's playing Risen Reef, which basically lets you get all your lands out. Either way, he's playing both of those cards, and he's either playing Field of the Dead, or he is playing, what's it called, Jace, which lets you, which basically just lets you, like, mill out all your cards and stuff. Okay, let's do that. Should I kill this? Okay, yeah, I have the mana to spend, basically. So yeah, I'm just gonna try to do this quickly, so... once again, this is probably a pretty big combo deck, so once it gets to a certain point, it's going to be a little bit difficult to start, you know, killing stuff, but that's okay, because I'm going to start putting some counters on my creatures. I'm hoping they play another spell just so I can get my Vraska out without worrying about it getting countered, which... Okay, well, that's okay. I didn't really need that at that point anyway, so, yeah. And then we have that. Okay, yeah, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to get the land that I need, and then I'm going to attack. Nah, I can't do that right now because, yeah, I'm going to get Vraska out while I have a chance. Then I'm going to get another Death Toucher. Because more than likely, they're going to be playing a Planeswalker. And that will be a problem that these guys can handle. Because as you can see, they can, you know, kill Planeswalkers by just damaging them, basically. Now, my lifelinker is a 2/2. And it'll get this train rolling a little bit faster, which is good. Looks like they're playing mostly flyers, so that's okay. Gonna do their scries and stuff, but unfortunately right now they're very low on hand stuff, so let's see what they decide to do. I think it's either a land or a counter spell. Just knowing how I play and stuff, they that will more than likely be what they use, but let's find out. It's okay, I'm gonna let you kill the thing. Well, not kill the thing. If it lasts, then I'll... Okay. Alright, now they put themselves in a little bit of a strange situation. Okay, so... Vampire. Then I'm going to kill this creature here. If I could. I actually can't do that right now. Right, okay. Little bit of a misplay on my part, but that's okay. So, I'm going to use the Prowler then. And I am going to swing out with my life linkers. Well, Death Touchers, sorry. I'm going to swing with my Death Touchers. There we go. You know, the funny thing is, even though I have, like, double the life they have right now, I'm still, like, kind of worried. I feel like that was the card that they had in their hand and stuff. But yeah, as I said, like, I'm a little bit worried about this just because, you know, I feel like they're setting up for something big, because so far they've just had a bunch of, like, 1/1 flyers that don't really do all that much. So yeah, I'm probably going to swing all out next turn, and then I'm going to use something or another. I'll figure it out. Yeah, I knew it. Oh, interesting. So, here, I could kill this, kill that. I don't want them to get the land, though, so what I'm actually going to do is go into attacks, hopefully... And then... I'm going to give my guy 2 counters, and then destroy all of their stuff. That should put them behind a fair bit, just because they're really low on resources right now. So, next turn, I am going to... Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm going to kill all their stuff next turn, if I can. I think I could probably do it. Shouldn't be hard. Yes! Now I officially can. 6. Okay. Okay, so that works out. They get their land. Then I get a land. So everyone's happy. And then next turn I'm going to swing out with this guy here. I think there's a very, very slim margin of them coming back from this. So let's see what happens. Because my creature's going to have haste. They have nothing in there. Okay, and sometimes that works too. So, as I said, guys, that's pretty much, what you can expect from this type of stuff. Just because you could be kind of far behind and then come back, or you could be way ahead and then end up dying. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you soon on your regularly sort of scheduled programming. Anyway, this is Brandon from Dolphin Quest, reminding you guys to stay cool and don't flip out. But besides that, have a great rest of the summer.